Hello, everyone. Welcome to Regina's Corner. I am your host, Regina Marks. I would also like to tell you about my website. It's called reginascorner.com. Please follow me there or on our YouTube channel. Always remember to subscribe so that anytime that we're doing a new video or something new, you'll know what's happening. Thank you again for being here. We have a fantastic guest. I always say that because the stuff is just always good. The information and inspiration is always good. So I'm going to turn it over to her right now so she can introduce herself and just get right into it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. I am Derrianne Monteiro, Dr. Derrianne Monteiro. I have my doctorate in nursing practice, and I'm also a certified registered nurse anesthesiologist. I am currently the assistant program director for the CRNA program at Marion University. I have been a CRNA for over 4 years now. It's actually coming up on 5 years, and so I have my story has been a whirlwind. I would definitely say, just as a minority in general, to give a great just idea of how the minority pathway is in the CRNA program, in the system as a whole. CRNAs, minority CRNAs make up 12% of the profession. So you can only imagine that number was a lot smaller when I first started in getting started in anesthesia. So I always say that not my plan, but God's plan, because when you're breaking barriers,
Wow.
there's always going to be some type of obstacles and adversities as you're going through that. And, you set yourself up to just kind of be, just do things the right way, but there's always going to be something that's thrown in your pathway. So, it's been a path, to say the least, but I am blessed to be here. I'm thankful overall. So yeah, I am born and raised from Gary, Indiana. I am the oldest of four
Hey,
on my mom's side, and the oldest of nine on my father's side. So I born and raised, like I said, in Gary, Indiana. I went off to Hampton University. It is a historical Black college university.
yeah.
We call ourselves the Ivy League of HBCUs. But I went to Hampton University. I graduated about in 2011. And it was there where I was actually in nursing school, and was walking down the hallways, and I saw a minority nurse magazine, and it was saying, "Do you want to be a CRNA?" And
Wow.
it was mind blowing for me,
Mhm.
simply because at the time, I believe it was only 2% of CRNAs were minority. I want to say about around that time in the early 2007, 2008
Mhm.
time. And so it was just like, wow, like to know a profession of that was becoming very increasingly popular, but have a small number of representation was mind blowing to me for
Yeah, I
sure.
wanted to say something too, because a lot of times I think when we're talking about these issues, I
Mhm.
think some people think here we go again with the African
Yeah.
American thing. And
Yes.
it's not that. This is not negative. This is actually truth. I see it all the time where I am in
Mhm.
my place of employment. Someone may walk up to me and says, "Hey, would you pray for me? I'm having a really rough time. I feel like I have to
Yes.
work harder." This is actually the truth. So the reason why I'm doing this is basically so other people can be encouraged to reach their goal, whatever God has
Yes.
called them to be. I want people to know someone has done it and you can do it because it's just a fact.
That is so
Yeah,
true.
that's the truth. The
That
truth.
is so true. It's one of those things that I read somewhere, it's like your story can be someone else's survivor kit, and
I like that.
that's exactly right. I definitely feel the transparency and vulnerability that we have to have amongst ourselves and our communities in general really can help push and inspire others along the way. And so that's, for me, seeing that magazine, and then, at that point, I was kind of sold. I was like, okay, this is the route in which I need to go because we need more representation. Especially, a CRNA is someone that is there with you during the most vulnerable times of your life. And sometimes, if you are African American, we already struggle with going to the hospitals as is, but the last face you see that may not represent you, to just have that sense of comfort of knowing that I'm being represented, I'm being taken care of with someone who looks like me, or someone who's going to understand my hesitation with certain medications, or whatever that may look like, or just the sense of loss of control. I think was so important to overall want to be a part of that level of healthcare. So it was, it's definitely been. That was my pathway. I was sold. I went into ICU. I was living in the DC, Maryland area for some time. I got accepted into the University of North Carolina, the Greensboro campus. And as a matter of fact, they had just started their DNP program, and I was their first and only African American in their program. Um, which was, definitely leeway to say the least. I mean, this was what, 2015, to just be at this time being able to still be able at this time in 2015 and to say you were the first was still just like, wow, we still have so much further to go.
Yes.
Um, as well. And then, of course, again, and I'll backtrack on my story there. But again, even in 2018, when I graduated, me and two other African Americans in the state was the first to receive our DNP and anesthesia
Right.
in the state of North Carolina. So, it's just, and I say not my plan because I had no idea that I was breaking barriers like that. But
Wow.
God knew, and He
Amen.
aligned me to be able. Here I was just trying to make a mark, and He was allowing me to make barriers
Yes.
and make an impact. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um, but life again was not without struggle. To get from 2015 to 2018, there was a struggle in between there. That that I had to face. And it was definitely a trying time. I think that was also where my level of faith also grew as well.
Mm.
And so, and it's again, it's one of those testimonies to this day that anytime there's a difficult space in my life, that I go back to that space and I say, God did it then, and He's gonna do it now.
I
So,
know that's right. That's good. I needed that today. Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes, indeed. But yes, my when I started anesthesia school, my daughter was 3.5 months. I had previously before the year before I had just got married. She was like our honeymoon baby, and I was actually pregnant during my interview and didn't even know, and then had her months before I started the program. And I can remember telling friends and colleagues, "Yeah, I'm gonna be starting anesthesia school." And they're like, "But you have a baby. How are you going to do that?" And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but yeah, we moved to North Carolina. I am from Indiana, so I didn't have any family in North Carolina. It was predominantly my ex-husband's family at that time that was there. And my daughter probably was about, I want to say about 1 year, years old, a little after, maybe about 14 months at that time. And I still had like about 2 years left of school, but I went through a terrible separation. I mean, emotionally it was taxing. It was a very tense and environment, to say the least, that just wasn't healthy for neither her or I
Yes.
mentally. And so even in that space in an anesthesia school, we can't work for 3 years. And so it became a moment where a person had wanted to, with the access that they had, it made it very difficult, I would say, for me to continue. But again, not my plan, God's plan. I had family from Indiana to Atlanta to Maryland, everyone flying in on a weekly, monthly basis to help me with childcare, to help me with it was times I was taking my daughter into school with me.
Mhm.
And she was a 1.5 years old, sitting there with a play laptop, sitting next to mommy while we're learning anesthesia pathophysiology.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
and was sit 8 hours with, of course, snacks, but
Yes.
she yes. So it was definitely a struggle from, court sessions. I can remember having to leave in court and going back to class to finish to do
Wow.
a test.
Mhm.
And I even remember my program director asked me, like, do you think you need some time? And I was like, that's not an option for me. I'm
Right.
gonna finish.
Wow.
And
Mm.
I got scholarships. I mean, I graduated with a 3.8 GPA. I had scholarships. And when I walked across the stage, my baby did too, in her own way.
Wow.
It
So
was,
you were separated at the time.
yes.
Were you it was just was that your choice?
Yes, definitely. It was more so, it was like a forced upon choice. More so like again, this was a very toxic, tense environment where the individual just was really trying to, how it's almost essentially like where it's like a controlling mechanism. Like, well, you can't do much, so I can control this space.
Right.
And sometimes you have to remember, where your source of strength comes from. Like, no
Yes.
one controls nothing. Man can't control anything for me
Mm.
that God gives me. Okay,
Come on.
so
Come on.
so it gets to the
Woo.
point where you have to rely on what you know and them good old teachings of what you were raised with
Come on
to
now.
say this won't be the end of me, and this is not my story, and I don't know where we went wrong for you to believe that you make my path, where you allocated what
Preaching.
I should.
Yeah, come on now. Yes, come on, come
you
on.
know so
Yes.
it was
Wow.
one of those where it was like, whether and I'm a firm believer to this day, I'm still a firm believer of marriage and all of those good things. But
Yes.
I also believe there you should never be in a space where someone is being manipulative, narcissistic in any way that is verbally and mentally abusive,
Mm.
because verbal and mental, that'll go down a whole nother rabbit hole there, but
Wow,
those are lasting effects,
that's good.
and you have to be so strong within to be able to say, yeah, this is not healthy at all. And I have a child, let alone I have a little girl, that I am not about to allow
That's good.
this type of
Yeah.
mentality to spew into her, no matter if I want to keep the perfect family look, And so it was a decision that had to be made. But I think it's funny because people don't expect you to make a decision when they know, well, she values marriage, she doesn't want to be a single mom, and she can't work. So what's her options? But let me tell you what God
Oh,
said.
come on, come on. Girl, you gonna make me have church.
God said,
Good.
I'll provide for you. And that's exactly what he did. I found that the moment where and I also feel blessings can be withheld when you're linked with people that God does not have you to be linked with. I had a 4.0 when 4.0 to 3.9, didn't get a scholarship, right? But the moment when I separated, and my GPA actually had dropped a little bit to 3.8, and I maintained it or got it up to like 3.8 and some change, but it actually dropped to a 3.8, and I separated at that time. Scholarships was just covering my tuition. It was just like unexpected
Right.
checks coming into
Yes.
into my household,
Yes.
paying bills and things and
Yes. Yes.
family. And I've always been the I've always been a very independent individual. I've always been the go-to person amongst my family and friends. And so it's family like, you are on my spirit, what do you need today? And pouring into me in moments where I didn't know what to ask for. And so again, not my plan, but God's plan.
God.
And so it's I feel that while you are breaking barriers and you are doing things in such a way that is overall one day will touch people or inspire people, it's still not without adversities and challenges and obstacles. And I think we see the other side, the good, but we don't see the in between. Just like there's mountaintops, there's valleys.
Yes.
And so it's just getting through.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. I knew when we talked today, I didn't tell you what happened to me, but when I talked to you that day, and I
Mhm,
said, and I think I asked you, I said, if you want to, whatever you want to talk about,
mhm.
I knew there was something. And when I left your presence, and when I left your presence, I always know when I'm around women of grace, mature women, because when you leave their presence, you can see where you need to be perfected or in whatever area. And I wanted to literally go home and tell my director, I think I'm gonna work from home today because I didn't have any sessions. I just
Uh-huh.
want to go lay and put my face on the floor and just
Amen.
begin to just call on the Lord because I saw the faith. I heard your relationship with the Lord more than I heard your pain. And
Yes,
sometimes when people share things with you, you walk away and just all you know is their pain, not their
mhm.
Jesus, not
Yes,
their relationship. And
yes,
so
ma'am.
I heard your Jesus, if I can say it like that, your Lord, your personal relationship. And I went, oh my Lord, you're so busy. Cause I just like want to let me just get to the hem of the garment, okay, type thing. Because um I heard God louder, your relationship louder. And I said, oh, I was just so glad to meet you. I was so, and that's why I'm just over the moon. I'm sitting here like a kid in my seat because this is like so good. Like my grandmother, like my grandbaby used to say, when she's 16 now, when
Oh
she
my
wanted to eat,
God.
she would go, yummy, 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 yummy.
Oh.
She's my great, I won't say her name. Yes, I will. I'm gonna say Amaya.
Oh my God. Oh, that's
Oh
a
my gosh.
beautiful
And that's the
name.
way I
Oh,
feel just being around you because I can hear Jesus. I can taste Jesus, so to speak, of his goodness and kindness to you.
yes, ma'am. It's the battles, the obstacles, everything that you go through. It's almost like I still feel that despite it all, I'm blessed. Like I'm currently still going through like a custody battle with my ex-husband,
Oh,
right? And
okay.
it's still one of those where I'm like, God had me then and he has me now. And so it's
And you shouldn't have said that because now all the prayer warriors are gonna be on. We're gonna be praying, girl. We're gonna be throwing it down. I don't play.
amen.
I don't play. When it comes to
Amen.
warfare, I'm like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have said that now.
Yeah.
We're gonna be praying. The devil is a liar.
Amen.
I know that's right. You had
Yes.
also shared with me about you had some losses also doing your time
Yes.
of
Yes.
education.
Yes, I did. And so again, I started anesthesia school in 2015. My stepfather was tragically killed in 2016. He was actually kind of stopping like a robbery along like kind of in the midst of a like robbery gone bad, and was deemed like a hero in that space because I believe he was trying to protect the young lady inside. But he was tragically killed. That was in 2016. Of course, my separation slash the first custody dispute started in early 2017. But then my great grandfather, who actually was very pivotal, like when raising me, my mom actually had me at 16. And so my grandparents, well, my great grandparents were like my grandparents, but
Yeah.
because my mom's mom died when she was 6. So her parents raised her. And so, but my great grandfather was like a father to me. He died in 2017.
Mhm.
And then months later, February, actually, yeah, it was January of 2018, which was 7 months before I was graduating. My aunt um, died unexpectedly from a heart attack, and she was 47.
Wow.
So, and these were big losses for me for sure in anesthesia school, in addition to still going through the custody battle, the divorce, separation, all of that. And when I think about that time, and even when I think about, I had zero income and yet bills was paid, yet nothing was never turned off. I wasn't in the system. I wasn't,
Wow.
I didn't need any government assistance. I still managed to keep my sanity too. And I
Mm,
know that's nothing but God.
but
That's that's why
right.
I'm like, this is nothing but God, because the things that were meant to destroy me, um, it didn't succeed. I felt like
I was
Job.
gonna say, girl, wow, that is, I'm telling you, I know this is gonna bless so many people because most of the time, you've already blessed me in so many ways. You have
No.
no idea. You have no idea. I'm looking at no matter what we go through, no matter what situation or circumstance in our life, I believe so many people are going to be able to relate to this because people are going through things. And how
Yes,
do I find God in the midst
yes,
of the tornado, the hurricane, the tsunami of my life?
yes.
Because that's the
Amen.
thing
Yes,
right there, because the enemy is speaking lies constantly. And so your
absolutely.
testimony is saying, hey, because you got to say, now, wait a minute, devil, I rebuke you. Jesus died for me. He is my Lord and Savior. The Bible says that of the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. You know what I'm saying? You have to
Yes,
take it back. You have to speak because what your mouth speak, your heart believes. And
that's so
also
true.
the Bible talks about life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Oh,
So
amen.
you gotta tell yourself that. You're not crazy when you gotta say, you know what, I'm not listening to you. I rebuke you.
That is so true.
It's the truth. It
And
is
it
the truth.
is, and it's one of those moments where you say, and it is, I would be telling you a tale if I didn't say that it's never easy while you're going through it. And it seems as if you're just not going to get through it. But when you don't look at the big picture, because when it's God's plan, we ain't meant for us to look at the big picture. We don't know. If
Yes,
you just
Lord.
take it step by step,
Guilty. Yeah,
time by time,
right.
it's a little more digestible. And I think, going through that period, everyone who has ever known me has always said, Derrianne, you are such a planner. But I think from that period of my life, I have become
Mm,
I have, one of those things I don't, I still have a planning thought process, but I'm also very flexible to the changes that's going to come, and I
yeah.
think that has shaped me in such a way that I don't allow
Mhm.
my plan to
Mhm.
start cementing
Mhm.
where levels of disappointments can take place and fester into my spirit, So
We need to have a women's retreat. That's all I gotta say, so you can preach. I've seen you in action, and so I love your character. I'm not just saying it because you're on Regina's Corner. I'm saying it. That's why I invited you because I'm like, wow, look at her. She's doing it. I see
yeah.
you from the scene. I
Oh,
see you handling it. I
yeah.
when it's time for them testing, it is what it is.
Yes.
It's your
Yes.
time. You come on or you miss. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? But I mean,
absolutely.
but you're well structured and still there for everyone that needs you. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm telling you, when I look at you, I'm like, yes.
Oh my God.
No, I do. No, what I mean is it's in a good way. You
Yes.
you see your heart and you have
Yes.
a wonderful heart, a beautiful personality. And then
Thank
also you're
you.
helping people to mature because it's not a
Yes.
game out there.
It's not.
You're gonna
It's not.
do or die. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You're gonna
Yes.
do or die. So you have to have that, that toughness. I remember when
Yes.
my daughter started her pathway to nursing and
Mhm.
then something happened. Somebody got a paper. They
Mhm.
said, let me see your notes. And because I wasn't there, okay, fine. They saw her notes and then the school called her. And
Uh-huh.
my daughter ended up getting kicked out of nursing school. She said, I didn't do anything. She said, what happened was the girl that gave her that she let her see her notes and she was sick, she copied word from word. So it
Wow.
looked like, and they couldn't prove
The
who,
play.
and
Wow.
even though she said, "I believe you," but you know, and so I
Yes.
remember my daughter crying, and on the inside, I was crying too. But I said, "What do you want to be? What do you want to be?" She's going to be
Mhm.
39 right now. I said, I said, "Get back up there and apply.
Yep.
Get back
That's
up there." Right. She's
that's
a
just
nurse practitioner today, and nurse practitioner today. So
amen.
you have to like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, that happened. Now you know not
Yes.
to do it anymore. Somebody asks to see you, no, I'm sorry. You
Yes.
know, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You know, so
I know that's
you
right.
gotta have some firmness. You know what I
Yes,
mean? You gotta have firmness. In
absolutely.
order to, you have to be able to allow God to help you to
Mhm.
stand in His power and
Yes.
His authority.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I think with that mentality, I've been in positions since leaving anesthesia school where I was the first or where I was the only. I was actually the first CRNA to be in an all physician anesthesia practice at IU Ball Memorial. And so I've been steady put into roles where I have to, I exude a level of authority, a level of knowledge, a level of discipline, a level of grace, wherever I am. And I always say I feel like my spirit God meets whoever before I come through the door, and
yeah.
so it's already laid out for me.
You absorb all of that. I mean, really, every word that you said, and you don't, and I don't, you don't like walk in pride. Everything you just said,
Thank you.
that's the way I see you.
Wow,
That's my
thank
word,
you.
woman of grace. If anybody knows me, and if I mention at church, I'm always saying woman of grace. And that's what I look for in my life because I heard someone say, which is so true. And you just demonstrated that. God has demonstrated in your life. Stuff happens. You can't just stay in the nursery.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. You can't
And
stay in the nursery of life, you know? You can't leave somebody to change my diaper because I've been so hurt and this and you know, and it's
yes,
not belittling your pain. It's
yes,
actually so you have to mature so let your pain work for you. You
that's
know,
exactly
let it work
right.
for you. Let it make you. And I'm saying all this because I didn't get pumped. You've encouraged me. You don't know. I'm gonna tell you in private, but you don't. I'm serious. You don't know because I
Oh,
talk to my
yes.
husband about a situation all the time, and you mentioned something that just helped me. We got to come out of
Wow.
the nursery. We got to come out of the nursery and know how to deal with these different people and different personalities.
That's exactly right. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's exactly right. I just feel like overall you have to it's a way that, I feel I've carried myself to say that, I'm here. I will be respected. But I would also and it's because I've earned it, like I don't just, and but in addition to that, it's like, there's a level of empathy that I have, but I'm real big on, it's okay to be there, but don't stay there. You know what I mean? Don't stay there, and that's kind of where I am. And I think that's just how life has kind of propelled me. I didn't know what tomorrow was gonna look like, but I just kept getting up. I just kept moving forward. And
Um,
yes, to keep moving forward, to just not stay there, and not knowing what tomorrow's gonna look like, not, but even to this day, it's like I don't, even with, like I said, the current battle that I'm going through, the custody battle, there's still a level of cordial likeness that I have. And I know it's like I don't understand why she's cordial to me. But it's like when you're blessed, you don't move like someone that's hurt. You don't move like somebody that is down here. Like I'm gonna be good regardless. So it's gonna be fine. It's gonna work itself out.
oh,
You gotta believe it. And when you believe it, it's like you walk in it, everything, and it's a constant reminder that I have to remind myself too,
yes.
because as you start to mature in your faith, the battles don't get easier, they get harder. And sometimes you need these reminders to be able to say, like, you know what? But again, you're still the same guy. So I need to,
Mhm.
this situation don't seem this situation seems unbearable, but
Yeah.
you're still who you are. And
Yeah.
so I want to thank you too for this opportunity, just
Oh,
because I think you have also allowed me to speak. I feel like God has given me these words and he's speaking to me through my own words right now because
yes.
I needed this, and this has been kind of very therapeutic, honestly. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate you,
It is
Regina.
for me too. A lot of people, I remember one time, just a long story short, in Regina's Corner, when it got started, was actually my grandkids. And then it went to the medical students asking me, and I said, okay, I must need to, evidently, I must need go there. So I went, and so doing Regina's Corner is always therapeutic for me. It always, I'm about to jump out of my seat. I'm just trying to go, okay, it's supposed to be an interview. Because it's so I really believe in it's very important to take care of you, take care of your mental health, take care of your spirit, soul, and your body. And through Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, and whatever he provides, I mean, whether, sometimes I'll sit on the ottoman and will drink my orange juice. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And
Yes.
just, yeah, I love orange juice. And I love lots and lots of water. And not just saying that so that you and my daughter won't get on my case, but anyway. But this right here is so, therapeutic for me too. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you have no idea. I will tell you. I know you are so busy, so I probably would just text you and tell you. You are
Yeah.
busy, and that's okay because you're making time for all the things that are important in your life. You know what I'm saying?
You,
And
yeah.
you're handling it. You gotta do what you gotta do. And
Yeah.
God said, because I waited patiently. I said, "I'm waiting. I'm sitting on the steps of her house. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna get this over." And I don't even know where you live. So it was like this. The steps, just in the spirit realm. I'm like, "I'm on the
Yes.
steps, Jesus." You know? I know you don't. Because I know when I'm supposed to do an interview. I feel it all on the inside, and I said, "Mm-mm, I'm
Mhm.
waiting." And when I got your text, I was like,
Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah.
"Girl, I am happy." Um,
Me too.
yeah. So in closing,
Uh-huh.
what would you like to leave that person that's listening, that whether man or woman, um, trying to move on in
Mm.
life, trying to achieve, but then also they're in a tsunami right now. They're in a storm, and matter of fact, they don't even see Jesus. They don't even they don't know where he's at.
Well, this may be very much so cliche, but I leave these words and say this too shall pass. I think
Mm.
we stay in our heads, we stay in the moment, and we never look past to know that just after it rains, sun still comes up. And I challenge people out there to really see life more than just that moment, to see life more than just that day, um, to just every day be purposeful, to just get up, even if you're doing one more thing more than you did the next day. If today you just got up, that's an achievement. If today you got up and then combed your hair, that's an achievement.
Oh,
If
wow.
today you got up, combed your hair, and brushed your teeth, that's an achievement. And I think being very self-aware is very important, but just being able to just move past that. The tragedy that I had recently had with my actual father.
Mhm.
He took his life along with some other things that had took place, and um, I believe he just couldn't see past that moment of what was actually taking place in that moment, and so I want to say to people to know that you are loved beyond just your family,
Yeah.
but your life matters, and that you have to look within just every day, just be purposeful, whatever that may look like, and hopefully, if you do believe in God, know His Word, immerse yourself in a healthy community of people that will constantly remind you of who you are, but more so who he is. And knowing that would allow you to say that no matter what is going on, I'm going to get through this. And so, it's baby steps. It's baby steps. Don't try to look at the long haul, just take it day by day. And this too shall pass. And so, and
Wow.
this is my shirt that I actually wore. God, I
Oh, I
will
love
do
it.
your thing.
Oh my gosh, I love it. But what you said is so true. To surround yourself
Mhm.
with wise counsel,
Yes.
people that have a relationship with Christ, people that will give you wise counsel, like what you said.
Mhm.
Hey, if you just brush your teeth, points, you know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
take it and just let God move you from one step to another. Um,
Mhm.
wowee. I don't know this has just been amazing. I hope that you're gonna write a book after this.
Everyone actually have asked me, have told me like you need to write a book. You need to write a book. I've done speaking engagements in our anesthesia practice with positive thoughts brings positive outcomes. That was one of
Okay.
the sessions that I spoke on. But I definitely feel when it's all said and done, I think I really want to at some point go ahead and write it
Oh,
because
yes.
it is important, and I think it is so important to be as transparent and vulnerable as possible
Yes.
because your story literally will be someone's survival's kit,
It
and
will. It will. And it will save someone's life.
absolutely,
Definitely because people listen to real things. And another reason why, because sometimes I think people can look at people such as that are doctors and go, well, your life is perfect. Look at you. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
that's not true.
That's not
That's not
true.
true. Education and money can't buy you out of everything. You know what I'm saying?
That is
Storms are storms.
true.
Some storms, they just there. What
Yes,
can you do about them? God has allowed them. And so I'm just so grateful that
yes,
God allowed you to just make it through that storm victoriously, not just moving, but
yes.
victoriously, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And I know I see you. To God be the glory. You are an amazing vessel. I could sit and listen to you all day. Uh,
Oh,
I
Regina.
could, I could. So wherever you speak, please let me know. And the book, I'm going to, what is it called when you can get the book before the book is out? Whatever it is.
Pre-order.
Yes, that's me. That's Miss Virginia. There she go, honey. Yes, several books. By the way, here you need one. Here, there you go. Because she can say it better than I can. I love things like that. And so no wonder when we are in a storm, and she said it. I want you to remember that, everybody that's listening, is that the enemy, he knows that there's something great that you're going to be able to pass on to millions of people. And so he's going to do everything he can to get you to see just only the negative in everything instead of finding God in it. And I love the way you said, hey, God's in this. He's somewhere and he's in
Yeah.
control,
That's
not man. This storm has been allowed for whatever reason, and I'm going to find God in it, and he's going to give me everything that he
Amen.
has for me.
Amen.
Uh-huh. What's that? What God has for me, it is
Yes.
for me. Yeah. What
Yes, you're
God has for me, it is for me.
yes.
I don't
Yes.
know what the rest of the words is, but I'll make them up. I'll just make them up.
I
You
know.
can't have my blessing.
No, no.
No, you can't have my blessing. What God has for me, it is for me.
Yes, Miss Regina. Thank you.
Thank
Oh
you
my
so
God.
much. I'll see you soon at work.
Yes, I
Everybody,
will.
everybody, you gotta subscribe, hit like, hit the button so the next time you'll know when we got something going on. And believe me, we're gonna have her back. I don't know
Yes.
what we're gonna talk about, but we're gonna talk about something. She'll let
Yes.
me know. Bye, everybody. Thank
Thank you
you.
so
All right,
much.
see you. Bye-bye.
Later.